everybody. Welcome to another edition of the KCSN Defensive Film Room, brought to you by Derrick Johnson's Defend the Dream Foundation. We appreciate DJ doing this with us every single week. So click that link down below. Donate a little bit to that foundation. Donate to a good cause while you're sitting here and watching this defensive film breakdown. I am Craig Stout. I am joined by two all-time Chiefs legends here, Mike DeVito, Derrick Johnson. Guys, this is the first time that we've come off a loss that we've gotten to talk about the defense since the three of us started doing this together. I want to talk a little bit about the mindset going into a week like this. You have so many good defensive performances in a row. You've rattled off a whole bunch of wins. Things are going well, and I know that you try and stay consistent from week to week as you're going through film and things like that. Say, these are the things we need to improve on. This is where we need to get better. These are the things we're doing well. But when something changes so drastically, Steve Spagnuolo's defense does not like to give up explosive plays. They're aggressive, but not that aggressive. They gave up a ton of explosive plays. They gave up a ton of points. You guys have been around the league for a long time. What's a week like this look like? Does it change, or you try and keep it business as usual as much as possible?
Well, it's we're both polite. You know what? It's a gut check. You know, it's a gut check. You know, I've been on teams where you say, man, we're winning, and then you get that game where you say, man, this is uncharacteristic of us to do this, especially on defense, the way we've been playing, the way we've been stopping all the explosive plays. I mean, just holding the points down. That's all we've been talking about, right? It was like, man, people can't score points on us, which is great. That helps out the whole team. But this week, the gates kind of flew open a little bit wide for us, and we just it happens, right? You know, this is the NFL. They get paid too, and we've been having this streak going along. Not to have a high standard for the defense, but it happens. But I got to tell you, man, they still stop the run. You still there's some good things that you can take from this, especially Chris Jones and the way he plays. But I tell you, the pass defense wasn't on this week. It was not on this week, and for whatever reason, we gave up way too many explosive plays. And obviously, you know, they have a superstar receiver in Chase, who I think is a really, really, really good player, really good superstar in the making. But not the amount of yards he got. I think we kind of made it easy for him. It was a lot of 50-50 balls, and we just we didn't make them. We did not make the play, and maybe we make one play, we win the game because it was that close. Actually, after halftime, I was like, oh man, here we go. Here we're gonna get it going again, and then it just never matured. And offensively, we were going really well, and we kind of, you know, it kind of got stale and didn't progress anymore in the second half, and the defense went the opposite. So it was it wasn't a good Sunday.
Yeah, you know, I think DJ's totally right. And I think when you look at it as far as how does this week now proceed, I think one of the things that makes Andy Reid so great and that organization so great is there's never super high highs or super low lows, right? It's like, whether we won or lost, you came back in, you fixed what the mistakes you made, and you moved on to the next game. And I think that's what allows Andy Reid teams to really dig themselves out of holes and bounce back from games like this, because the system is the same. Nothing changes now for how they're going to prepare for next week, right? And they're not going to get chewed out. It's not going to be over the top. It's not going to be an emotional roller coaster. I mean, he's going to, you know, go in, get it fixed, and move on. And I think DJ's right. You know, Chase just looked better than everybody. I mean, I don't know if I've seen a player like that in a while. Yeah, it just happens. And I think Spags, you know, now listen, I'm not about to say that I would know how to put a game plan together, but I think, you know, one of the criticisms has been your front four is getting there. You know, drop some guys, you know, don't worry about the pressures much, drop some guys back, even if it's just one extra guy to help on Chase. I think that's an easy fix. And like DJ said, one touchdown difference in this game, the game goes the other way. So, and you got to factor into the fact, obviously we don't like to make excuses, but some of those penalties were just outrageous.
We'll get there, guys. I got to play in here. We'll get to that one. But so does this ever serve as a wake-up call? I know Andy likes to keep things even keel, but maybe on some teams that you've been on, maybe you've seen some guys maybe get knocked back into it a little bit. It's like, hey, we're not invincible anymore.
Right.
Like this is we need to step up. This can happen to us. We can get caught. Like you said, that one play, you just show up for one play.
I actually do think it's kind of a wake-up call. Now, Andy, just like Mike said, Andy's even keel. Not too high, not too low. He's the guy that's gonna balance out everything. I mean, Andy's perfect at that. So Andy doesn't need this loss. Andy wants to win every game. But for players and young guys around, still building this culture, because every year is a different team, right? And this defense, last couple of months been really good. Right. And this past Sunday, especially the second half, not so good. So, we don't want to see it happen, but it happens, and hopefully you get better from it.
Yeah, and going off of what DJ's saying, that especially for those young guys, it is sort of a wake-up call to get back to the basics, get back to practicing hard. As the season gets going, especially now in 17 games, and you're winning and things are flowing, you can start to slack off a little bit. This is the perfect time for a wake-up call, because talking about those young guys, once those playoffs start, it's a different beast that you're playing against. It is fast and physical. We're going back to week 1 now, where teams are fighting now, but teams are fighting for that Super Bowl trophy. And there are a lot of guys on that team that already know what that's like. So having playoff experience is important, and Kansas City has that. But it's good for these young guys to sort of reset, realize they're not invincible. And the timing is right, because they're about to find out, especially if things don't work out and they got to play week 1, how ramped up this stuff gets going in a hurry.
Yep. All right, let's get to the film here. DJ brought it up, and he's absolutely right. This Chiefs defense played really well against the run. Joe Mixon is a very good running back, and while there may have been some depletion along the offensive line, this group did a good job of lining up and stopping the run. And I want to highlight this play, especially Derek Nottie clogging up the middle here, eating this combo block, and Turk Wharton on the other side also doing that. This kind of funnels everything to the linebackers here. And so a play like this, Mike, we've talked about this a lot. You've talked about defensive linemen trying to, maybe aren't as patient. They want to get those tackles. They want to get those stats and things like that, because it does matter. People look at contracts and stuff like that. Those things do matter to some people. A play like this, that's definitely one where you're coming in the film room, the linebackers are dapping them up because they make the play, but it's the defensive line doing their job up front here that just makes this easy for the linebackers.
Yeah, they set the line of scrimmage. I mean, there's no surge. And on these crunch plays, we saw this last week against Pittsburgh. The way those double teams, they want to work that right into the linebacker's lap, right? So if they're going to stay on that hard, that means they want to take that lineman and get him into the backer. That's how that block is going to work. And yet, if that defensive lineman is able to stuff it at the line of scrimmage, you'll see, look, there's nobody on the backers, right? And so this is just great, technically sound, especially at the nose, staying in there, keeping that double team on the line of scrimmage, and the linebacker has, he's free.
Yeah, absolutely. The nose, it makes the play right here. Even though Bolton and Hitchens get a credit assist tackle for this, the nose guard is the guy that gets the attaboy right here. Just because he, a lot of times as defensive linemen, as inside backers, you want to show up in that gap and help them out and take off. And sometimes you can't. Sometimes you have situations like this where he has to hold that double team about 2 or 3 seconds, which is really, really long, by the way, with 2 people trying to drive him back. And if he is able to drive him back, it actually messes up the whole look for the inside backers with Hitchens right behind them. But the linebackers stay square. Bolton and Hitchens just, have eyes just like the running back, knowing that, hey, it's clogged up over here. Running back's coming back, and they just meet him in the hole. And I love this.
Yeah, were you talking about 51, DJ, on the edge there? Look at how he knocked, because this, I think
Yeah.
I think play is designed to hit front side.
It is. It
is.
is.
It is, right? So he knocks that guy back. I mean, he kills that. Is that a tackle?
That's a tight end. That's a tight end. He absolutely destroys him.
Yeah, he wins that. And I mean, basically, you know, they get 98 a little bit. They have him a little bit out of there. So I'm sure that back would have preferred to hit it in that A gap, but because 51 knocked that tight end so far back and clogged that up so much, I mean, he basically shuts down 2 gaps with one guy.
Yeah,
so that's a good play by him as well.
I was going to shout out 51 there and 97. Alex Okafor setting the edge on the other side here.
Yeah.
Like, there is one gap for this to go to. There's just one gap.
With 2,
and that's
with
2
linebackers in that one gap. This is awesome. This is great defense right here.
Yeah.
You go through this fast in the film room, everybody gets pluses. Boom, 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 across the board.
Good.
This is a 13 personnel look, and they brought in an extra offensive lineman to the right here. So you're going to see everything pretty clogged up, but this is a great job of filling the cutback lane by Willie Gay Jr. here. Everything's kind of flowing to the left, really, designed to try and get outside here. And you've got Willie Gay flowing well with the play, taking that backside B gap, what it ends up being, shooting it, shutting it down. The Chiefs have had some troubles at points this year with filling some of these cutback lanes. So it's good to see Willie on the field and healthy because he helps eliminate some of this stuff, DJ.
Yeah, it's all about having speed at the linebacker position, being able to stay square, crossing it. Everybody says, as linebackers, inside backers, never cross over in the box. Well, not really. That's not realistic. You can cross over, but when you make a tackle, when you get up and in, your feet need to be set. And this is what Willie Gay's doing right here. After he runs and get in the gap, he sets his feet, comes up and in. I mean, I've seen this a few times. I've messed up at this before as I'm in a position like Willie coming across, and that linebacker, that running back cuts across my face and you miss the tackle. But he's attention to detail. And this is actually a hard tackle, by the way. This is this is a lot of space when you're making a tackle, and it may not be a big power shot, but being able to stop your feet and then decelerate and then tackle this guy, moving target, I think it's really, really good.
And we talked about how, the front 7 really look like they're on the same page. And a lot of times you see, D linemen trying to stay in their gaps, but sometimes they're going to get out of them. And the wherewithal for the linebackers to make it right, especially 50 here, like 98, I like the way he originally plays this block, but he gets on the outside of 75. If he's going to play back if he's not going to chase the guard, which I think, that's kind of a fuzzy. Can I see it one more time?
Yeah.
I don't know. I understand what he's doing, but if you're going to get back into 75, you got to stay inside him and set that, you got to be in that B gap. And so he goes out to play back into the tackle, but he goes too far. He's too flat. The tackle is able to get around him. But 50 makes him right. 50 sees that.
I was just about to say that, man.
Yeah.
That happens so much, Mike. It's never perfect up there. And, don't get me wrong, technique-wise, he needs to stay in that B gap. But if he doesn't, we are the guys to bail out the defensive lineman at times. And trust me, y'all bail us out too. So it goes both ways.
Oh, you've helped me. There are so many times that you bailed. I'm thinking about this now. Now, normally, when you're playing with DJ, he's making that play in the backfield, shooting that C gap. I'm like, how did you get there? But I can't tell you how many times I got reached or cut out, and I didn't have to worry because DJ's 100 miles an hour, just like 50, making this play. So when you have that trust up front where like this play right here, if I was 98, I wouldn't be able to sleep tonight over that one play because I could not stand doing that to DJ. But it is great when you can trust each other and hey, if I make a mistake, my buddy's got my back. And this is a perfect example of that.
Not always pretty. Sometimes you got to get it done the sloppy way. Yep.
It's hard.
All right, here we go with another run play.
Oh, one thing too on that last one I forgot to mention is
go for it.
98 has the extra lineman and a tight end to his side, so I would have been favoring that side too.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah.
he has
I was
the-
trying to think that there's going to be like maybe some counter footwork or something like that going back to him. Yeah,
yeah, because you know, you're thinking if they're bringing in the extra tackle, they're going to run towards him.
Yep.
right,
You know.
right.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, that's a great point. Yeah. All right. Another run play here, and this is where we're going to start seeing some of the Chiefs secondary get involved here. You're already going to see on this play Rashad Fenton flashing from the inside here, and two DBs coming up to fill this gap. This is a dime defense. You see Dan Sorensen in the box, so this is aggressive fill by Juan Thornhill, by L'Jarius Sneed coming here, and by Rashad Fenton on the front side, forcing Mixon. He's peeking outside here. He sees Fenton kind of cutting back. These DBs this year want to hit. They play the run like they're linebackers. And I think you don't, when you talk about like all pro teams and you talk about these guys, these defensive backs, you talk about all these, passes defensed and everything like that. You don't talk about plays like this. And we're seeing more and more of them as the year goes along. Just an absolutely outstanding effort by defensive backs in the run game here.
Yeah, this is winning football right here. I mean, you turn this on the film, you turn this on in anybody's film room across the NFL. You say, "Wow, hey guys, we got to get going," because these DBs like to get in the mix. But from the defensive line holding up, from the linebackers, and then you have DBs coming in. I love this, man. This is, especially Fenton beating that block up top. That actually to the left, that actually helps the whole play out. Now, Mick Nixon has to go somewhere else, which he doesn't want to go, and he thinks it's like a deception deal. He thinks it's there, but it's really not. And they close so hard. That's how that's what makes really good defenses make them really tough and salty. When they have a hole, if you have 11 guys busting their tail, especially in the back end, it's just not the front seven, but all 11 guys coming up, making big time hits like this. These take a toll on running backs, and this is a good look right here.
Now, did Spags did he blitz into this? Look at
Looks
the left
like
side.
I was going to say, I think Fenton is moving downhill immediately. So,
This is a hard play to read. If you go back to the beginning, Craig, I think he starts in far gun and then at the last second motions to near gun. So when you have these gun sets, generally the ball is only going to go one way, which is away from where the back is set. So if I'm getting in my stance as a D lineman, now they blitzed right into it, which is fantastic. But like if I'm that 3 technique and I line up, I'm looking towards the till the last second. But at some point you got to focus on the guy in front of you. And so I'm looking, I see far gun. I'm thinking, okay, this play's coming towards me.
Yeah.
I would never have chased the guard inside. But at the last second, they motioned that to near gun. Now all the runs are going the opposite direction. So everybody's learning this or everybody's finding this out at the last second that how this play is going to play out schematically changes, drastically and really quickly. So this was a good play call by them, but this was a great reaction. I don't know if I've ever, I don't know, DJ, do you remember seeing the backs gets motion at the last second?
Oh yeah.
So that was always wrong. I was always messing up.
Y'all have your hand in the dirt, so you don't see it as much. But it happens, and you're right. Schematically, it actually changes the whole game. Now, from far we're playing different plays. From near we're playing different plays. So when we line up and you say, "Man, they're in near," okay, these are the plays. Boom, boom, and then they switch to far. You're like, "Ooh," and then they snap it. It's like, "Oh no, you got to figure it out."
Yeah, that's tough. That's
you can see Sorensen immediately making that change, flowing with it as the running back comes across there, flowing over the top, opening up that gap. Yeah, stuff. Great job by the defense. All right, more plays here, and we're going to see. This is actually a combination of L'Jarius Sneed coming off the edge once again. We got another run blitz here, and Chris Jones on the interior just absolutely blowing up the guard. And once again, obviously Steve Spagnuolo saw something this week with his ability to blitz guys off the edge, run blitz them. L'Jarius Sneed beats the tackle around the outside, and Chris Jones just absolutely mauls the guard, comes up with a big play in the run game. Just once again, this is the fourth play in a row here that Chiefs run defense was really, really good on Sunday.
I mean, DJ, all I have to say is, like, I remember watching, there are some guys that you watch that, you're always studying tape, you're studying other guys' film to see, okay, what are other guys doing? How can I get better? But there are some guys that you watch on film and you're like, you just can't do that, right? If I would have made this move, that play would have went for 100. You can never, hump move outside of a double team. But when you're Chris Jones and you have that explosive ability to close the distance, I mean, it's amazing that, offensive line can't prepare for that. There's nothing they can do to prepare for that. And so, I mean, that's just being special, and Chris is special.
Yeah, just it's outrageous to watch him sometimes. The things that, especially sitting here talking with you guys about the things that, from a technique standpoint and the way that you're reading the leverage of the offensive lineman and all that, and just, throwing on some Chris plays here and watching you guys go, oh man, like that.
Yeah,
that's just different. So it's awesome to watch.
And Mike, you can't even draw this up. You can't even say like, hey, Chris, we want you to peek your head in there and then swim move him to the ground. Like, you could be like, no, you're gonna, yeah. This is just unconventional when it comes to taking on blocks. So Chris is one of those players where it's hard to teach players to play like him, because I've been a part of some teams where coaches like, all right, guys, great play by DJ. We're not going to teach this, guys. Okay, great play.
That's right.
But when you look at Chris, you say, Chris, just keep doing what you're doing, man, because this is just destructive. Because if disruptive, I should say. But other teams are looking at this offensive lineman are like, we don't know where he's going to go. I mean, I got him sealed off, and he just uses my momentum, and he's so strong and big and athletic. He throws it to the outside, then comes back and makes the play. That's just, D linemen don't do that.
No,
just
let me tell you,
you
know what that looks like if I try to do that? That guard puts his hand on me and pushes me out. And now the two of them are full steam ahead on DJ. So they're on 53. I mean, normal people can't do that. But he hits this guy so hard that he knocks him down, and yet he's still
on his feet.
He didn't sell out to do it. Like, for him, it was just a regular sort of hump move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's outrageous. It's why sometimes we've talked a little bit about, run defense and Chris Jones and things like that. And there are times when there are some explosive plays given up because of some of this stuff. It happens, but you don't want to break him out of it because stuff like this happens.
It's a lot less likely. It's rare. Like, everybody talks about JJ Watt, who's a great player, but with him, we watch him on film when he was in Houston, and he would do stuff like this, and teams would repeatedly hit him for 10, 15-yard games. I mean, they would run right at him. Yeah. But then he'd make 2 or 3 TFLs. With Chris, that doesn't happen very often. I mean, he does stuff like this and makes the play 9 out of 10 times. JJ Watt might be 5 or 6 out of 10 times. I mean, Chris is a really impressive player.
That's a good point you brought up, and not to bring JJ Watt in the mix, but I've seen guys like JJ Watt do that, and at times they make a big play, and then at times you say, "Wow, man, you're hurting the defense,
killing
right
everybody."
There. Yeah. Killing then everybody. You look at Chris, you say, most of the time he makes the play, so you're like, all right, Chris, keep doing it, man.
Do you? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Now we're getting into the pass game a little bit here. And speaking of Chris, we're going to see him just wreck a double team here. And a good job by Jaron Reed, 90, and Frank Clark, 55 here. Jaron Reed ends up with this sack, but well worked, kind of that late loop that we've been talking about Frank Clark going underneath the tackle that kind of frees up Jaron Reed to come over the top. But it's because of Chris Jones beating this double, swimming over that guy, ripping underneath, and it kind of allows Jaron Reed to clean this up. But Melvin Ingram's on the outside here, so it's still a 4-man rush, but it's effectively these 3 guys preventing Joe Burrow from stepping up, preventing him from getting out of it. He's a hard guy to bring down. This was a great play by these 3 guys to come up with this.
Yeah, I love the fact that when you rush the passer, that it's not planned out. It's not planned out. You got so many counter moves in your head, and Chris Jones is had 3 technique, and then the guard 77 gets too wide out on him, and now he goes to his other inside move right now, because I know Chris loves to be on the edge. He thinks he's a defensive end. He's a big guy, but he can do it, obviously. But 77 gets too wide because he knows he has help from the center, but you don't have that much help because after he gets beat, after he beats the guard, now it's like, all right, one-on-one with the center, let's go. I mean, this is high level stuff. This is one of those rushes where you say, as an offensive lineman, you're like, man, we got to deal with this guy all game.
Yeah. Again, this is one of those things, just, to be when you sell out inside and have that swim move over the top, I would try that and never be as successful. But even if I hit it, if that center was there, I was done. That was it. If I went to hit this hard swim move on the inside and that center was there, that was it. But Chris is like, it's never it. Then he transitions right. He's able to get his body back up the field, transition to the rip move, all within the time necessary to get there before the ball's out. Again, this is one of those things that I'm not sure how an offense game plans. I mean, it's just hang on tight,
Yeah. I mean, we're watching this in slow-mo, and it's still chaining together ridiculously fast. I mean, this is unbelievable.
Right. He gets no sack on this play, but he gets all the credit. All the credit.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, moving on to the next play here. What we're going to see after Jaron Reed celebrates is this is a good job dropping out. We highlighted last week defensive lineman in coverage. I really want to focus on Derrick Nottie dropping into coverage and Anthony Hitchens also dropping into coverage here. You're going to have kind of a little bit of a high-low, a levels concept coming across here. And these 2 guys do a good job of taking this away. Now, Mike Dana does an awesome job up front. Don't get me wrong. He gets credit for this pressure. It's a 3-man rush. But Joe Burrow wants to get rid of this ball in the middle of the field. And because Anthony Hitchens and Derrick Nottie are positioned in such a way, they are taking away those quick routes. Mike Dana gets a good pressure here. It does result in the completion, but a short one. This is effective. This is good defense here. I just wanted to highlight the way that they're able to bracket both of these guys and take them away in the middle of the field.
Nottie's looking like a deep, I can't tell you how many times I've dropped out. I never once looked for anything. I dropped straight back looking at the quarterback. I mean, he's looking
to grabbing too. He's searching for that dude.
He's finding his guy. He's trying to get in on it. I mean, that's just heads up good football. I mean,
that is smart. A heads up good football play, especially for a defensive lineman. Just like Mike says, usually those guys, you say, hey, just bag up and get in the middle of the hashes. Don't look at nothing. Just kind of, don't mess up. But you can obviously tell, like as a defensive lineman, he's dropping out and he's thinking, and he's conscious on route combinations and certain things, which is really helps out linebacker wise. Hitchens does a great job by turning his hips and actually staying with depth off of there because it's a levels route right behind him. It's like taking the cheese. If he takes that guy, that little running back right there, it's that tight end's right behind him waiting for the dig route. But he did a great job by flipping his hips. And man, it's just they have plenty of plays like this. I just I should have won. I just hate that they lost this game,
we're going through. I mean, and this is an empty. Like a lot of defensive coordinators, like they'll send the house against empty versus dropping 8 here. That's what they do here, and they still get pressure on the play. Mike Dana coming off the edge, bull rushes this offensive tackle back into Joe Burrow. This is a great play against empty. I mean, it's just a phenomenal job. You wish that there were more of those plays. And
Right.
you talked about it up top. Mike talked about it a little bit too. This is there were a lot of flags in this game. There really were a lot of flags in this game. This is one of them. This is one of the more egregious ones. I do want to highlight the quality of the coverage. This is a nice, 4-man, 5-man rush here. You're actually going to see Chris Jones get some pressure when we go to this reverse angle, able to really work this well. But they call a pass interference on what equates to an uncatchable ball. Like the DB has a better shot at getting this ball at the bottom of the screen than, it obviously a clear out route. Call a pass interference. I think we all agree. Not a good call. DJ, yeah, you've been on the end of, not to give anybody, any Chiefs fans, any sort of PTSD. I think everybody's thinking of the one against the Titans where you blow everything up. Like these are tough. This is backbreaking. And I know the general consensus is you just move on, you go to the next play, you make it happen. But when it happens repeatedly and it happens, and all this stuff, how hard is it to just pick yourself back up? Does it take a drive? Is it one of those where it takes a couple plays? Or are you able to snap back into it, get to the next play, and kind of refocus in the way that you need to after something as egregious as this happens?
Yeah, the right answer, I mean, the politically correct answer would be, hey, you got to go on to the next play. That doesn't matter. You're out there playing. Don't let the referees dictate the game. But at the same time, man, realistically, football's hard. Football's a hard sport. You're out there, you're going physically, mentally, and all that's happening. And then you get a ticky-tack call like that, and you say, come, like I'm doing the best I can. You gotta, as the referees, don't try to get that flag out there. It has to be something blatant out there, especially if the ball is uncatchable. You pick up that flag, but this is a call that kind of helped them move down the field. We're trying to get our mojo back, especially in the second half, and to have this call against us, it hurt. It really did.
Yeah. That's a 3rd and 3 from the 21. This is one of those where you're not going to see the Cincinnati Bengals go for it on 4th and 3 from their own 21-yard line when they're losing. Like this is one that they're certainly punting away. Tough one. Once again, Chris Jones, awesome job on this play. We're talking about how elite he is, but a great job by the defense, great execution, and unfortunately, the Bengals are rewarded for it. It's tough. It ended up being one of the main storylines of the game, unfortunately.
Yeah, should be.
Yeah. So now we're moving to the last drive of the game here, and been highlighting Chris. Here, Chris gets a sack on just a terrific play. Once again, just really staying in, swimming, underneath, getting that inside move, and then resetting his hands on this play to work the center. Again, we just saw one where he got a pressure on a similar sort of deal, working inside and then beating the center. He's actually able to come up with the sack this time because Melvin Ingram forces Joe Burrow to step up. This is what kind of started what ended up being one of the biggest situational plays of the game. But this on a 1st and 20 now gets you to 2nd and 27 just because of Chris Jones being better than the Bengals interior like he was for most of the day.
Yeah, Chris Jones is an animal. He's a complete animal. You talk about somebody that's just relentless with rushing the passer, and he's pretty popular. We talk about him all the time, but we don't talk about him enough, man. He is just so disruptive when it comes to rushing the passer. You got to put 2 guys on him. They know it. It's happening. Hey guys, we got these 2. Let's figure this out. I mean, it's not a secret. And he still beats this one guy like he, beats him really easy. And then the center comes and he gets set again and he gives him another move. That's hard work for a big man that's over 300 pounds and 6'6". My hat's off to him, man. I mean, he helps out the whole defense when it comes to running the ball. He's very disruptive, so he gets penetration all the time, so he makes the ball bubble, all that good jazz. And then when it comes to passing the ball, the DBs love Chris Jones because it's like, hey, you hold the ball more than 2 seconds, you're sacked.
Yeah, he was outstanding on Sunday. There's not a whole lot more to tell. I think he's probably going to be an all-pro when they release those lists, like he should. If he's not, it's going to be fairly criminal, but just an outstanding job by him. Now we're going to go to the next play. This is 2nd and 27. I know everybody knows where we're going. We're going to talk about the 3rd and 27 here when we get to it after this play. But this is one where the Chiefs ran a two-man coverage. You're going to see both of these safeties kind of top some of these routes, but you're going to see the Bengals show, that's as a tight end and a running back in the backfield. So it's still 11 personnel, but you've got both of these guys in the backfield. Chiefs are showing pressure. They drop it out, and when they drop it out with these backs, basically they're green dogging on this, where, if the guy goes out in the route, it allows these guys to, go out in the route with them. Now, all of a sudden, you've got everybody in coverage. It's a two-man coverage. Joe Burrow still throws to a one-on-one on the outside. And we're about to talk about a one-on-one on the outside. This is a good job by Rashad Fenton at the bottom of the field, staying in phase, disrupting the route, and playing at the catch point. He breaks up this pass. They live to fight another day. And so this is kind of what everybody wanted to see on the play that we're going to show on this next one. But it's still going to be single coverage, a low percentage throw to the outside to Fenton here, even with that safety over the top as it was on this play.
Yeah, I mean, the defensively, they did great. They were anticipating, Cincinnati was anticipating pressure, so that's why they have the tight end and the running back there, just in case if they were to blitz them, you'll have 6 or 7 guys back there, 7 guys back there, max protecting the quarterback, so they can have time. But they didn't blitz, so the route, the tight end and the running back went out for their routes, and we played great defense on the outside. Fenton did a great job by just keeping his face into the guy, having eyes on the quarterback. I mean, this is good defense right here. Yeah, this is like, okay, guys, we're about to get the ball back. We're about to get the ball back to our superstar.
Yeah, and so that was kind of what everybody wanted to see, and then it switches to this 3rd and 27 call, and I think everybody's very familiar. Steve Spagnuolo sends the house here. I believe it's a cover 0 call. I know you can see the safety in the middle of the field, but he's reading those guys in the backfield, and when they kind of stay in, you can actually see. Skip forward. You can actually see him start to take steps forward into that kind of low hole. And so it ends up being basically one-on-one on the outside. Fenton at the bottom of the screen is given all kinds of space, but Charvarius Ward at the top of the screen against Jamar Chase, a superstar, like you said at the beginning. Like, this is just something that Joe Burrow is going to throw every time. That's what this offense is predicated on, is throwing to these big matchups, throwing to these guys. A low percentage throw. Like, it's still a low percentage throw, but one that he completes here. DJ, let's talk about the decision to blitz that heavy on 3rd and 27, because I know that, there's so much discussion about, oh, don't do that, keep a safety over the top, give those guys some help, whatever the case may be. Steve Spagnuolo is trying to win the game here. Yeah. He's trying to force a punt. As a player, would you rather that be in your hands, or would you rather take that check down? Would you rather try and give it back to Patrick?
You know what? I've been on, unfortunately or fortunately, I've been on both sides of it. Where this works, this all-out blitz works, and I've been there where you say, man, we just probably shouldn't have did it. It's one of those things where hindsight, you look back. But right now they're at the 41-yard line, and the ball, all they need to get to is like the 35, 36-yard line. So we're not covering for third and 20 something. So right now in our minds, we're thinking if they get to the 35 or 34-yard line, they got a pretty nice field goal that they probably can make, maybe, a 50 something yarder. So that's what their Spags is playing for right now. And that's why he's kind of all out, and they throw a deep ball on. It's a good play.
It is.
He made a great play on this ball, but at the same time, maybe looking hindsight, maybe come up like that. Cause the Cincinnati offense was actually they're anticipating him blitzing, because they thought it was happening in the last play. So because they put the running back and tight end back there, so like, oh man, here they come. He loves the blitz, and we didn't do it. And now it's like, all right, let's show them we blitz and maybe pop out. But you know what? If Ward makes that play, you say, great job, coach. That's it.
Yeah.
Great job. It always comes back to the player making the play. Now, you put that player in a comfortable, uncomfortable situation. That's a big time player out there, knowing that he beat us the whole game. So that's when you put in the factor, you know what? Maybe not let Chase catch it on this play. Put 2 on him and, make them go somewhere else if they want to win the game. And they went straight to Chase, especially one-on-one. I mean, that's a great job by Burrow. I mean, I would have threw that up too.
Right. It's funny that you say that you're playing for the 35 because Steve Spagnuolo in his press conference this week said we treated that like it was 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. So that's exactly you're in lockstep with kind of what he's saying there, where you're saying no, we're trying to prevent that 5-yard throw rather than worrying about the fact that it might be a 30-yard completion on this particular play, trying to win the game.
We just, because we know that they don't have a play for that long. So we know, like, okay, they don't have a play for 30 yards. So let's figure out a way to stop them from getting a field goal, because they're not. It's different if it was 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7. It's just a lot different. Now it's 3rd and 20 something. It's like, all right, this is it, guys. This is it. They need to get to the 35. This is all Cincinnati's thinking about, and Cincinnati made a great play. Burrow made a great play by throwing it up for a 50-50 ball, and that's been pretty successful all game.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think that's the part about this, the hindsight that you're talking about. You just have that guy that's having that kind of game, that's on one in that way. It's kind of hard to leave him one-on-one in that scenario just because of that, which, worked out, unfortunately, the way that it did. That's all that we've got this week. I appreciate DJ joining me once again. I appreciate Mike joining us. He had to drop out in the middle of that, but we will be back next week. Chiefs play the Broncos in week 18. That's still so weird to say. Week 18, and we'll see how the playoffs shake out. Talk maybe a bit about matchups and going into the playoffs with these guys next week. We will catch you later.